What if I told you the Indiana Fever, the very team that landed the biggest star in women's basketball history, might be planning to throw it all away? Not a rumor, not a joke, a real, gut-wrenching possibility that's got fans spiraling and insiders whispering in disbelief. Caitlin Clark didn't just join the WNBA, she redefined it. In less than a season, she turned packed arenas into sold-out spectacles. She made people care, watch, and invest like never before. She's not just a rookie. She's a revolution. And now, there are rumblings that the Fever might trade her. Yes, trade her. The face of their franchise. The reason they matter. It all started with one insider article, just a few lines buried in a report. But those lines set off a storm the league wasn't ready for. Because if Indiana is even considering this move, they're not just risking their season, they're risking the soul of the WNBA itself. It started with a whisper, a single insider report that detonated across social media like a bombshell. Scott Agnes, a trusted voice with deep ties to the Indiana Fever, dropped a quiet but lethal line in one of his latest pieces. Caitlin Clark, the biggest name in women's basketball, might not be as safe in Indiana as everyone thought. He didn't spell it out. He didn't need to. All it took was one chilling implication, that Clark's impact might be causing internal discomfort. Not because she's underperforming, far from it, but because her presence is too powerful. Too many headlines. Too many fans. Too much attention. According to Agnes, some inside the organization feel like Clark's fanbase has hijacked the team's identity. That the games don't feel like Fever basketball anymore, they feel like the Caitlin Clark show. And that sentiment? It's reportedly rubbing certain players and staff the wrong way. Just think about that. A franchise that spent years scraping the bottom of the standings finally lands the biggest star women's sports has seen in decades. And now some people inside want to dial it back? The article didn't say a trade is imminent. But it didn't have to. The language was careful, but the subtext was deafening. There's tension brewing behind the scenes, and some decision-makers are starting to wonder if Clark is too big to manage. And that's when the internet erupted. X, formerly Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, every corner of the sports world lit up with one question. Is Indiana actually thinking about trading Caitlin Clark? Fans were furious. Comment sections exploded. Hashtags trended overnight. Because if there's even a shred of truth to this, the Fever aren't just playing with fire. They're throwing gasoline on a legacy and daring the world to strike a match. Inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse, something strange is happening. The stands are louder than ever. The jerseys flying off shelves. The headlines dominated. And yet, behind closed doors, a quiet fracture is forming. The Indiana Fever are caught in a bizarre, almost unbelievable position. They're winning the popularity contest, but questioning the crown. Reports suggest that certain voices in the front office, and even some players, feel overwhelmed by Clark's gravitational pull. Her fame, her fan base, the media frenzy she drags into every arena. It's all too much, they say. They didn't sign up to be co-stars in someone else's spotlight. But here's the kicker. Clark never asked for the spotlight. She earned it. Every viral shot, every sold-out arena, every headline. It's not hype. It's hard work. And still, there's discomfort brewing within the team, a feeling that the Caitlin Clark effect is somehow overshadowing the Fever's long-term culture. So now, allegedly, the conversation has shifted from how do we support her to can we manage her? And that shift? It's dangerous. Because trying to control a cultural movement like Clark isn't just foolish, it's suicidal. She's not a disruptor. She's a lifeline. The kind of once-in-a-generation athlete who doesn't just play the game, she rewrites the rules. And yet, some in Indiana reportedly see her not as the future, but as a complication, a distraction, a spotlight that's just a little too bright. If the Fever are seriously weighing a trade, even whispering about it in backrooms, they're playing a game far more dangerous than basketball. They're risking everything she built for the sake of comfort. If you're as shocked as we are that the Fever might actually trade Caitlin Clark, smash that like button. It tells the algorithm this is a story worth hearing. And don't forget to subscribe for more breakdowns on the drama, decisions, and power moves reshaping the WNBA right now. You can't talk about Caitlin Clark without talking about the millions who show up, tune in, and ride for her like she's a generational icon. Because she is. This isn't your average fan base. This is a movement. A tidal wave of support that doesn't care what team she plays for. only that she's on the court. They wear her jersey, not the Fever's logo. They fly cross-country just to see her warm up. And if she's traded, they'll pack their bags and follow her out the door without hesitation. Let's be real. Caitlin Clark is the Indiana Fever. Before her, that arena echoed like an empty gym. Now, it's standing room only. National media, celebs in the front row, kids clutching signs like they're witnessing history, because they are. And if she goes, it all collapses. The cheers die down. The headlines disappear. The fans vanish. Because this fan base isn't loyal to Indiana. They're loyal to Clark. She built that stage. She brought the lights. And she's the reason the world even knows the Fever exists. If the front office thinks those fans will stick around for a rebuild or rally behind team culture, they're in for the rudest awakening in league history. Because this isn't just basketball anymore. This is a fandom with its own gravitational pull, one that follows the star, not the jersey. Caitlin Clark didn't just change the game, she changed the conversation. Around women's sports, around media coverage, around what a rookie can really be. She's not just a highlight reel, she's a headline generator. Every no-look pass, logo range 3, or fierce stare down turns into a TikTok moment, an ESPN replay, a viral tweet from someone who's never watched a WNBA game in their life. She's not playing for the moment. She is the moment. Think about it. Before her, the WNBA had its audience, loyal, passionate, but niche. After her, it's primetime. She's filling arenas in cities she doesn't even live in. Opposing teams are doubling security. Ticket prices spike the second her name hits the schedule. This isn't normal. This is star power on a level the league's never seen. And the best part? She's not asking for it. She's not showboating, demanding attention, or stirring up drama. All she does is show up, lace up, and drop buckets with ice in her veins. She's the kind of player who makes you cancel plans to watch a Tuesday night Fever game. There are players with talent. There are players with charisma. And then there's Caitlin Clark, the rare force who blends both into a spectacle the world can't ignore. She's become the face of the WNBA not by committee vote or marketing campaign, but because the people chose her. Because she makes it impossible not to watch. Behind every Caitlin Clark three-pointer is a cash register ringing somewhere. This isn't just basketball, it's big business. Since entering the WNBA, Caitlin has done something no rookie in league history has accomplished. She turned her name into a billion-dollar brand magnet. Not someday money, right now money. Her jersey? Sold out within hours of release. Her NIL deals before the draft? Already north of 7 figures. Now with Nike, Gatorade, State Farm, and more, she's not just cashing checks. She's rewriting the sponsorship playbook for women's sports. And it's not just her pockets getting deeper. The Indiana Fever are experiencing record-breaking attendance, merchandise sales, and social media growth, all because of her. The league itself is seeing TV ratings explode, with Fever games averaging higher viewership than some NBA matchups. Think about that. A rookie generating more heat than some of the NBA's middle-tier teams. And it's not just fans paying attention. Corporate sponsors, broadcasters, and international investors are watching too. Caitlin Clark has become the WNBA's best argument for more coverage, higher pay, and real media investment. This isn't hype, it's economics. And for a league that's been fighting for mainstream respect, she's the million-dollar catalyst they never saw coming. But here's the twist. All this money and attention could be why some people in the WNBA power structure want her gone, or at least quiet. Because when one player becomes this powerful, it can make the old guard nervous. It's easy to smile for the cameras, but what happens when they stop rolling? Inside the Indiana Fever locker room, whispers have turned into warning signs. And it's not just about basketball, it's about identity, power, and control. Reports have surfaced that some veteran players aren't thrilled with how the spotlight always lands on Caitlin Clark. She's the face of every campaign, the name on every headline, while others feel overlooked and disrespected. One name keeps coming up, Alyssa Thomas. Known for her gritty, no-nonsense style, she's reportedly clashed with the narrative surrounding Clark. And it's not just her. DeWanna Bonner, Candace Parker, and others, some of the league's longtime stars, have kept noticeably quiet or distant when asked about Caitlin. And then there's the body language. On-court friction, missed high fives, post-game interviews that feel colder than they should be. Even Stephanie White, the Fever's head coach, has been caught in the middle, trying to balance team chemistry while the franchise clearly favors their golden rookie. But it gets even deeper. Some insiders believe Clark's explosive popularity has disrupted the WNBA's culture, which has traditionally emphasized collective empowerment over individual stardom. Now, one player is grabbing headlines, endorsements, and airtime, and not everyone's okay with it. It's not just about ego. It's about power, control, who gets to shape the narrative. And when a locker room gets divided between the future and the foundation, something always breaks. If the Indiana Fever actually pulled the trigger on trading Caitlin Clark, it wouldn't just be a bold move, it would be a full-blown earthquake. For starters, it would send shockwaves through the fan base. Clark isn't just a player, she's a brand, a symbol, a movement. The Fever's sold-out arenas, the jersey sales, the TV ratings through the roof, all of that is tied to her. Trading her would risk alienating the very audience that's kept the franchise relevant. Then there's the league-wide impact. The WNBA has never seen a rookie-dominate attention like this. A trade could ignite a bidding war between franchises, turning the move into a spectacle and potentially redefining how young stars are valued and protected. But the real twist? It might not damage Clark's career at all. In fact, landing in a bigger market, like Los Angeles, New York, or Chicago, could amplify her stardom. Imagine her paired with veteran leadership in a city built for superstars. The sponsorships, the national attention, the marketing machine, it would go into overdrive. And what about Indiana? Losing Clark could create a massive hole, not just on the court, but in their identity. They've spent months branding her as the future. Without her, they'd need more than a new strategy, they'd need a total rebuild. But here's the wildest part. It could set a precedent. The WNBA has always operated differently from leagues like the NBA. Loyalty, legacy, team cohesion. But a Clark trade would signal a shift toward a more cutthroat, business-first model, where no one is untouchable, not even the league's most talked-about rookie. And for better or worse, that might just be where the WNBA is headed. At first glance, this whole drama might seem like a clash of egos or a response to on-court chemistry. But behind the scenes, it's starting to look a lot more like a high-stakes power struggle. Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA with unprecedented momentum. Massive NL deals, primetime media coverage, and a fan base that treats her like royalty. But that kind of fame doesn't just follow you. It shifts the balance of power. Suddenly, you've got a rookie with more leverage than some league veterans, and not everyone's thrilled about that. The Indiana Fever's front office might be trying to reassert control. By leaking trade rumors, they send a message. No one is bigger than the team. It's a classic management move, tighten the leash before things get out of hand. Then there's the WNBA's leadership, caught in the crossfire. On one hand, Clark is their golden ticket, boosting ticket sales, TV deals, and global attention. On the other, there's growing pressure to prove the league still belongs to its veterans, players who fought for years without the spotlight or paychecks Clark is enjoying right out the gate. And let's not forget the agents, sponsors, and marketing execs whispering in the background. To them, Clark is a product, and the narrative matters just as much as the performance. A dramatic trade? That's controversy. That's buzz. That's money. So what are we really watching here? Not just basketball. This might be the beginning of a new era where branding, business, and influence weigh just as heavily as talent and teamwork. Where power isn't just held by owners and coaches, but by the players, their followers, and the millions watching online. And Caitlin Clark? She's right in the middle of it. So, is Caitlin Clark really on the trading block? Or is this just a high-level chess move to remind everyone who's in charge? One thing's for sure, this isn't just about one player, one team, or even one season. It's about a shifting culture in women's sports, where fame and influence can rival legacy, and where a 22-year-old rookie might hold more power than an entire franchise is ready to admit. The Fever might be bluffing. They might be buying time. Or they might actually be willing to let go of the very person putting them back on the map. Meanwhile, Clark stays silent. No cryptic tweets, no dramatic interviews. Just business as usual. But make no mistake, everybody's watching. Because if this trade ever does happen, it won't just shake the WNBA. It'll change it forever.